Hey, what's up? It's Chad, and I have a DEXA scan update. So I got a DEXA scan today, and the last one I got was a year and 4 months ago. And let's see what the differences are. So first, here I have just the picture pulled out of the DEXA report between January of 2023 and now. So a year and 4 months difference, and you can pretty much see that I put on lean mass everywhere. Most notably, I think in the shoulders and in the legs. The legs, I think, are significantly thicker in this updated scan. So let's go ahead and jump right into the results. According to the DEXA scan, I am at 19.3% body fat, and since the last scan, I put on 24.5 pounds of lean mass and lost 3.6 pounds of fat tissue and gained 0.6 pounds of bone mineral content. This is dubious. Anybody who knows anything about bodybuilding knows that you can't put on 25 pounds of muscle in a little bit over a year. It just doesn't really happen like that. There are some factors I think that could help explain this. Like, for example, with the old DEXA scan, I was dieting at the time, and so I was very much depleted, holding less water in the muscles and glycogen. Now I'm kind of main gaining slash bulking, so I have a lot more food and water, jumping around in my body, which I'm pretty sure would get registered more as lean mass. But even if we take off, like, let's say 5 pounds, or let's just, to make it easy, 4.5 pounds of lean tissue, I'd still gained like 20 pounds of frickin' muscle in it. A year and 4 months and 16 months, which is a lot. And since the old test, pretty much what I did was kind of like a cutting slash maintaining period for a few months. Right after the last scan, and then I had a kind of a bulk. I think I bulked maybe 15 something like that pounds, maybe to around 180, and I had a cut. I think I cut down like to 174, 175, and I had a pretty long bulk for almost 20 pounds to around 194, I'd say 193, 195, somewhere around there. And just recently I finished a cutting phase where I cut down to around 184-ish, 183, 184. And then I've kind of been like maintaining slash like lean bulking, trying to maintain since then. And the scan has me at 187, with food and clothes on. So I think more realistically, I'm around 185. Even given all of these caveats, I clearly put on a shit ton of mass. So, it's nice to see that what I've been doing has been working, at least numbers wise. And, say what you will about the numbers themselves, 19%, at least say directionally it's probably pretty accurate. So jumping into the specifics here, if we compare the old scan to the new one, I used to have 14 pounds on the arm, now it's 19, so 5 pounds on the arm makes sense. About 1/4 of the gain was in the arms area, which includes the shoulders, by the way, as you can see the way that the body scan is separated out by these lines. And if you look at the legs, 54 pounds lean mass now, 44 earlier, so 10 pounds in legs, again, makes sense. Half the lean mass gains were in the legs. So where I lost the fat tissue from, according to the scan, I lost the fat tissue in the legs, apparently, which I guess makes sense. That's kind of just where my body decided to take off those 3 pounds. That being said, I think there's maybe some error going on with the scan, because it says that I gained fat tissue in the trunk, which is this kind of section of chest and back over here, which I think if you kind of pay attention to the lines, the trunk section in the new scan I think has more of the love handles than the old scan did, a kind of large proportion of the love handles, so I think that would explain that. And also the trunk area contains most of where the chest and back muscle will be, and you can see that my lean mass before was 53 pounds and now it's 63, so 10 pounds of mass gain in kind of the back and chest muscles, but also I think that would include most of the like organs and food content area also. Moving on, let's check out, so the RMR. Supposedly, I gain 220 calories per day of metabolic rate, which makes sense. Typically, people will say you gain about 10 calories per pound of muscle that you gain, so it kind of tracks with the numbers that they have. Although, that's kind of a given considering they probably just calculate this with a formula based on your lean mass, visceral fat. So this. Right, so my headset died when I was talking about the VAT, so I'll go back to that. Like I was saying, the old scan of 0.00 for visceral fat, probably a misread because it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, I think, physiologically to have a visceral fat of literally 0. And if we go look at the report for the percentages, you can see that DEXA has a lot of, like 8% of scanned people having a visceral fat of 0, which I think, literally 0.00 is, I'd probably wager that it's not physiologically, very reasonable. But, very low is still very low, so I'll take it, right? And yeah, I'd probably say having low visceral fat is probably a combination of genetics and lots of exercise, because I know that there can be people who are relatively lean but still have higher visceral fats. Something that I did want to check out was this metric here. So appendicular lean mass index. So pretty much it takes the lean mass from your arms and your legs and normalizes it by your height. And so this is kind of a measure of jackedness, I would say, because it's not including torso area, which can have more like fuzzy data due to, organ lean mass, food and water in your digestive system. And so with this measure of jackedness, looks like I'm at 73%, so I'm only more jacked than 73% of people taking DEXAs. So I've definitely got a ways to go to continue to improve on that front. And so the last thing that I wanted to really look at was the body fat number, kind of a little bit more closely, because essentially if we take, let's say we take these numbers not at face value, but with what I think is a little bit more reasonable, we'll drop my total mass to 184 and all of that being lean tissue. And let's take the fat tissue at face value. So let's say I'm 184 and I go on a fat loss and I lose 14 pounds of fat tissue and I get down to 170, right? Then my fat tissue will drop from 36.3 to 22.3, and out of 170 total pounds body weight, that means I'd be 13% body fat at 170 pounds. And this is part of the reason why I'm skeptical, because according to this, if I got down to 170, I would be like pretty shredded. Like I would have 13% body fat. At that point, you can pretty much see your at least 4 abs. A lot of people have a 6-pack at 13%. I would be like very, very lean. And the reason I'm skeptical of this is because like a year ago, I was this weight, right? Like as you can see, I checked in at 166 16 months ago, and I was not even remotely close to being lean. But that's what the numbers say. I think I might try. I mean, it's encouraging if it's true. I don't know if it's like this false hope sort of thing, but I guess I will be trying to cut again in the near future. I'm probably going to maintain for a little while and then drop back into another cut and see if we can get closer to like 175 and see if I start to see inklings of leanness, then, who knows, maybe the numbers aren't that far off. Anyways, I think overall, I was pleasantly surprised with the results. It shows that what I've been doing has been working and definitely motivates me to continue the grind and just keep getting my ass in the gym and continuing to build mass, hopefully over time lean out. And so, yeah, that's it. If you made it to the end, thanks for sticking around and have a good one.